Everybody, Dr. Jeff Anzalone. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Grant Cardone. Thank you, Grant, for joining us today.
Man, Dr. Jeff, appreciate you having me and always love spending time with you. You're very inspirational, aspirational, and you're interested in growing the game.
You and I sat down last month. I was in your town speaking at a dental conference. I sat down with you. You helped me out a lot. And you and I said, look, we got a problem. The problem is you got all these doctors, dentists, high income, stressed out folks burning out. I think this year I read over 500,000 healthcare professionals either quit or lost their job. So people are like, so my first question to you would be this, we're taught to go to school, right? If we want to make big money, what's your mama tell you? Go to medical school, go to dental school, go to law school. Okay. We go there, but we're not taught how to create wealth. So what do you tell that person right now that's working 60, 90, 100 hours a week, depending on only one income source? What do you say to that person?
Well, I just say, and I know that that's a problem. You wouldn't go do a surgery or procedure with one nurse in a room. You wouldn't do it without backup batteries, emergency power behind that. But then you guys go do it on your income. I mean, most of the time there's going to be, if I have a heart surgery, how many doctors are going to be in a room?
You're going to probably have 2, maybe 3, but you're going to have a big support staff.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and then if you fly private on a plane, how many pilots you got up there? You're going to trust it with one. But then what you guys do is you violate the doctor, violates when it comes to their income, that same premise. Always have a backup. And multifamily real estate and cash flow producing real estate provides you with the backup. The second part of that is earned income is the highest taxed income in the world. And if you earn 400 grand a year, regardless of where you live, you're walking away with 240 at best. Yep. 240. That's if you don't pay, like if you're not getting banged for insurance. You got a lot of turnover in your space right now with nurses that don't maybe want to get the vaccine, nurses that are like, I'm going to go do travel nursing. I'm going to go do 1099 nursing. Like you got the whole space, the medical space has been under disruption and attack for the last 15 years. Healthcare problems, employment problems. Then you got inflation hitting you guys. You guys can't raise rates. You're actually collecting less money for procedures today than you ever have in the history of the medical profession.
To tell you that point right there, we're having to see more patients each year because the insurance reimbursements are dropping. So we're having to work harder to make the same amount or less.
Yeah. So that's deflation.
Yeah.
Okay. Your ability to collect, you could charge more, but if you don't collect more, you're being deflated.
Right.
So you're basically, you're underappreciated. You're overstressed. Everybody's going to attack you as untrustworthy right now because of the CDC and the FDA and the WHO. So anybody's got any kind of conspiracy stuff going on, they unrightly and incorrectly blame doctors as the issue, like you're a scientist. And then you guys can't collect money. And then you're not even taking advantage of appreciation or inflation. You're getting banged on because of inflation. You're getting deflated on your income. You're getting overtaxed on your income. And then your money's sitting in a bank dying. The crazy thing is like this property behind me and properties that you're doing, the doctor listening to this right now, you guys need to understand this. You are already funding my projects. When you leave money at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citibank, or when you pay for life insurance, or when you send money to Wall Street and let it sit in an IRA or ETF, a money market or bond, you guys do understand that those guys where you leave your money, your deposits, call me and give me your deposits to fund those projects. You're investing in real estate. You're actually making my real estate deals possible without the advantages of the appreciation, the cash flow, the leverage, or the tax write-offs. You get actually incomed at, I think basically your savings rate today, if you're a genius, connected, and you got probably at least $20,000 or $100,000 in an account, you might be getting 0.25%. Maybe a half. If you tie it up for 5 years, you might get a whole point. These properties that we're doing today, you know, we're averaging 15% internal rate of return, meaning you would collect in 1 year, average checking account in America pays 0.018, 1/8 of 1% before setup fees. If you multiply that number times 6, you'll be at 100%. It takes you 6 years to earn 1% on your money. So most doctors know about compound interest being the 8th miracle of the world. The truth is, compound interest does not exist for you at a checking account level, savings account level, or even really in a bond. A treasury bill today, 1.5%. Treasury bill. I'll have more cash flow from this property. This property will do 4 times a treasury bill. And treasury bills are used to fund this activity. So what I mean by that is, when I go buy this building behind me is $230 million. I'm going to put $70 million down. I'm going to finance the rest. The $180 million that I financed came from Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citibank. I don't know what all the names are. The local community bank, your credit union, bonds, treasury bonds, where you guys earn no money. That money is coming out of your bank accounts. Wells Fargo calls me and says, Grant, Dr. Doolittle just dropped off $80,000, put it in a checking account. He's not paying attention to it. Can we lend it to you?
It's so funny you bring that up.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my text this morning. My attorney friend, local in Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana. You know that song? I'm from, anyway, he says, he was last night, late at night. He said, my mind races at night. So hopefully you read this in the morning. I got $500,000 to invest. And before I put it with the local financial advisor, I want to talk to you about real estate first, because I heard about it. And so it's like, people know. I mean, people are reaching out to me. People know that, you know what? Because when I started off my first year, I sat down with the financial advisor. They said, Jeff, you're a good boy. You want to get wealthy? You need to invest with me in a 401k for the next 35 years. And when you get to be 70, you'll be set. I'm like, okay, that's the only thing that I knew about. And I think maybe the Google put me with you from being Louisiana, because I was searching one day, and I don't know if it had an article where it says Grant Cardone is from Lake Charles and Louisiana. I don't know, but that's how we came together. And I was like, dang, he's teaching about, I've never heard of passive income. We're always taught about how much money to make.
Yeah.
We're not taught about how to make money.
So take that 500,000 and the financial planner says, first of all, give me that money and I'm going to put it in a Keo. That money now becomes illiquid. You're penalized to get it back.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to show the doctor how to actually take that 500 grand. That 500 grand, by the way, you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to trade it to another piece of paper that actually has less backing than the first piece of paper that you gave them. So what I would do with that 500 grand, because 500 grand, if you push it over to a mutual fund in an ETF, it's going to buy $500,000 worth of stock. And then you guys, the reason you're already stressed out about your damn patients, you're stressed out about healthcare, you're stressed out about the nurse that's a diva, you're stressed out about your rent going up at your place, you're stressed out about what happens when the next level of Obamacare or Biden care or whatever happens and you get cut back again. 500,000 can only buy 500,000 with a question mark as to its value. So it's 500 grand. Now watch, I'm going to take the same 500 grand. I'm going to convert a piece of paper that we all agree, Republicans, Democrats, independents, everybody agrees this is a piece of garbage. It is a piece of paper that has been, that's value is only based on the confidence we have agreed upon confidence, which we have a depreciating confidence in this piece of paper. So I'm going to take the same 500 grand. The first thing the doctor should be doing is creating wealth with their 500. So that 500, I'm gonna multiply that times 4, and I'm gonna go buy a $2 million position in a piece of real estate. I have immediately leveraged into something more valuable. You cannot do this with stocks. You cannot do it with crypto. You can't do it with NFTs. You cannot do it with bonds. You cannot do it with cash accounts, money markets, check-in, savings, nothing. I'm using leverage. I'm using a piece of real estate. Now, doctors, just remember this. Think with this simplicity, right? Because you guys have so much common sense. You have a science, and then you apply common sense to your science. Okay, every case is treated differently. You're asking me, okay, your dad died of heart disease at 52. But Grant, you're in great shape. You're going to add common sense to my historical heart disease in my family. You're not smoking, you're not drinking, you're not overeating, you don't load up on cholesterol foods, et cetera, right? You're going to use common sense. So let's use some common sense here. 500, 100 becomes 100. And we know this 100 is getting deflated. It's going down in value. Okay. You also know that stock market, if your financial planner puts you in the stock market, we're at historic highs. We are at the highest PE ratios in the history of a stock market, with a printing press that has gone mad. So watch. Now I'm gonna take this piece of paper that can be burnt, it can be torn, it can be lost. You can do a lot of things to damage this $100. It's been depreciated for the last 100 years. And I'm going to convert this to a building like behind me. It buys $2 million. The same 500 grand buys $2 million. And that $2 million is going to appreciate over the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It will go up in value over the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. In fact, multifamily in America has doubled every 10 years. Okay. So I took my 500 grand, I threw it into a building. The entire building, that building can catch on fire, but you can't burn all 456 units down the same night. If it did, it would be insured, unlike if this $100 got burnt. It cannot be insured.
Right.
Okay. Now think about this. I go to Citibank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and I say, hey, guys, I have 500 grand. I want to take the 500 grand. I believe in Wells Fargo so much that I want to take $500,000 of my money, and I want to borrow $2 million worth of Wells Fargo stock. I want to invest in Wells Fargo. I want to put 500 grand down, and I want to buy $2 million worth of Wells Fargo stock. What will Wells Fargo say? No, bro, we ain't doing that. This Wells Fargo won't even let you invest in their bank because they know that stock can go down. I go back to Wells Fargo and I say, Wells Fargo, I have a multifamily complex in my little town, and I want to put 500 grand down on a $2 million building that's going to pay me $50,000 of cash flow a year. They'll be like, yeah, we'd love to do that loan.
All day long.
Okay, doctors, listen to what I'm telling you. Your local bank will lend you money on that property right there, and they will not lend you money on their own stock. They will not lend you money to go invest in the stock market, and they will not lend you money on Bitcoin. What are you doing? You got a better chance of getting a loan on an apartment building than you do your own practice.
That's
Why?
right.
Because multifamily has been the most dependable. There's a thing called a sharp score. Okay. The least amount of risk with the highest return. Multifamily apartment buildings like Jeff is talking to you guys about has had the best return since 1945, by the way. 70-year trend. Rents have continued to go up. And this is not real estate like this is not the brick home that you guys live in, the 7,000 square foot home. This appreciation is not based on your neighborhood. This appreciation is based on rents going up. And as rents go up, the value of this property goes up. So number one, you get the leverage. Number two, you get the appreciation. And number three, you guys, you're making 400 grand, 500 grand a year. You need to offset your income with big write-offs. ETFs don't have it. Crypto doesn't have it. Mutual funds don't have it. Treasury bonds don't have it. That piece of real estate right behind me has more depreciation, bonus depreciation, tax write-off advantages to you as a group of people than any other loophole, if you will, other than your own practice.
We don't even register that when our training, it's just like, how much can you make? How much can you make? You're working harder, not smarter.
Yeah. Now, the last piece is the passive income. Okay, this property that Jeff's showing you, 500 grand should pay you on the low side, $25,000 a year. When the rents go up, maybe 50,000 a year, passive income. How many patients do you need to see a year to pick up another 50,000? And you're like, well, 50,000, 60,000, 40,000, 30,000, that's not a lot of money. You got to remember your capital's protected. You have a $2 million investment. You're being paid to own. You're being paid money to own a $2 million investment, waiting for it to go to $3, $4, $5, $6 million.
But you didn't talk about the main point of this right here. You don't have to have somebody complaining to you or coughing on you or throwing up on you to get this.
Yeah,
know?
Exactly.
You
Unless you try to do this yourself.
Yeah.
And this is a good point, because this is where the doctors, this is why they stay out of real estate. I don't want anybody calling me. I already got patients calling me. Okay. I don't want a tenant calling me about toilets, termites, bed bugs. I don't need it. So you guys shouldn't do it. You should not go out and buy your own real estate. You should find someone that's buying real estate that's a professional. Any different than I shouldn't pull my own teeth. I shouldn't work on my own cavities. I shouldn't do my own heart procedures. I shouldn't do my own colostomies or colonoscopies. I should not do all that stuff. I should come to you and let you do it. And you guys should take your money and invest with a real estate partner that you trust, somebody that's buying deals, that believes in the market, that knows how to operate these deals. And it's a no-brainer, man. This thing has been, I started with $3 grand. In case your audience doesn't know my story, I started with $3,000. I own $4 billion worth of real estate today.
You remember us talking last month, and I said, I remember you were on a show and you were talking about how much you had in real estate. I don't know. You were like, I don't know, 800 million. You was like, well, why don't you just go for $1 billion? And you paused. You're like, you're right, I should. And then look, just a few years later, you're like, what, 4 billion?
Yeah, $4 billion worth of real estate.
People, it's right here. It starts here, right?
I don't spend time investing in other stuff. I literally spend zero time understanding NFTs. I have zero interest in the NFT. Will I do an NFT one day? Maybe. Am I going to buy Bitcoin? I actually have bought some Bitcoin, but I only bought it because somebody gave me a bunch of Bitcoin. They gave it to me for a speaking fee. Okay. I don't spend time studying car dealerships because I'm not going to be a car dealer. I spend time buying real estate in the markets that I'm in, that I have businesses in, where I know the politics, I know the tax base, I know how I'm going to get treated as a property owner. I know what's going on, that I have positive job growth coming to my market. And then we make big bets, we take huge positions on big pieces of real estate. I've been doing this 30 years. So you get more confidence. I have more confidence today than I had at the 3-year mark. And this is what you and I were talking about, how to do something together so that more of your doctors, the nurses, the space. It's unfortunate you guys make so much money and end up with so little.
People like the connection. They're like, Jeff, you're not like a used car salesman trying to just pitch me stuff. You're like a dude like me working on patients that have found success somewhere, and you're sharing your story and you're sharing people who you do with. So people connect with that. I would want to go to another dentist or doctor or whatever. That's, if I wanted to get big in the crypto space, if I found a dentist that was doing a lot of crypto, I'm gonna go listen to him before I listen to, crypto Carl trying to pitch me a Carl coin or something. I wanted to ask you about a show that I watched, fantastic show that you had on YouTube, Money Tips from Wealthy People. And one of the people that you interviewed was Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful. And I'm gonna put, for you that haven't watched this, I'm gonna put the link to Grant's show below this video. He mentioned one of the key factors to building wealth was knowing your monthly nut. What's coming in, what's going out. And I don't think doctors realize about that, how important about that, and trying to do that. So what do you say to that, to that comment that he gave you? You're knowing what your monthly nut is.
I think a lot of doctors probably adhere to this rule better than most of the population. You guys don't live beyond your income. the thing that Kevin didn't say in that interview was, let's say I'm making $35,000 a month. You're walking away with 20 at best. So you end up with 240 after taxes. I personally wouldn't spend any of that money. Like I don't spend earned income ever. I invest all my earned income. My standard of living has never changed until I can pay for it with passive income. My wealth could be literally the wealth that I've created in my lifetime has been generated from one principle: never spend earned income, invest all of it. Only change your standard of living. The quality of your living is improved only out of money you don't earn, but that comes from investment income. I only spend in my life. I have a brand new plane coming to me right now, Gulfstream 650. I paid for it with passive income. The fuel is paid for with passive income. The pilots are paid for with passive income. The trips that we take, the watch that I wear, everything that we spend, including how I take care of my kids, is taken out of passive income, not earned. So I take my earned income. Let's say I earn $1 million in a year. I take every penny I can and I invest it in order to reduce my tax bill over here. These buildings provide me with tremendous protection against earned income taxes. It lowers my tax bill. So if I earn $1 million over here, I want as much of the million. I live on as little of this as I can and push as much as I can into investment, real property that provides passive income. So I get a little drip out of this. Let's say I get $80,000 a year. That's what I live on. I live on the 80,000 from the passive income, not the $1 million of income.
Plus, that's going to be taxed much lower, right?
Yeah, this beats the tax man. It also protects me against inflation, and it protects me and my family. It creates tremendous discipline, by the way. So Kevin O'Leary was basically saying, don't spend more than your nut. I would tell you guys, don't spend if it's not passive.
Well, something else that y'all had a conflict over was he wasn't into going into debt for self-education. You asked him point blank, you said, Kevin, what's the best investment you can make? Is it Kevin O'Leary? He said, yeah. So there you go. So the doctor out there, what would you tell him regarding that self-education?
I would tell you guys to invest in three things. Number one, invest in yourself first, as you have already. You just quit doing it.
Right.
You quit. Number two, invest in your business. That's your medical profession. You know, your profession should provide you with the most earned income of anything else you can do. Probably provide you with a purpose and a passion. You love it. You became a doctor because you wanted to help people. The third thing, though, the thing that people don't do is they need to now invest their extra money into something that provides them with leverage, a wealth building. You cannot create wealth being a doctor. You cannot show me one doctor that got wealthy being a doctor. They got rich, but they didn't create wealth. Wealth is you can do whatever you want as long as you want with whoever you want. You could walk away from your practice tomorrow. You could throw it away. You could give it away. Most doctors cannot do that. So I'm talking about the kind of wealth where you're no longer stressed about your industry, your profession. You cannot be wiped out. You can't be hurt. Inflation's no longer a concern to you. In fact, you hope for inflation because you would benefit. Mm-hmm. So I would say, look, you know, me and Kevin disagree on a number of things. Kevin's got a TV show. People know his name, but I wouldn't trade my wealth for Kevin's wealth.
I know our time is running short. So one last thing that I want to talk about regarding education for us. One of the cool things that you said while I was there was, hey, and you had an assistant take me behind your building at the new complex you just bought, and what your goals for expanding your education. So I know you're always talking about you got to figure out how to earn it, how to keep it, how to multiply it. Like you said, we figured out how to earn it. So do you have any educational resources for doctors out there about the last two, how to keep it and how to multiply it, that you can give us?
Yeah. So, again, this piece I told you a few minutes ago about, like, at some point you got to quit putting money in your practice. If you're not going to get 10 of those, I mean, you can only put so much money in one practice. If you're not going to go get 10 practices and then go from 10 to 100, you got to find an emergency generator. You got to find a team. A team in real estate is, who can I invest my money with not a financial planner, by the way. No offense to financial planners. You know, economics is a battle. I need some SEALs with me. I need some guys that got ammo with them, water with them, some guys that are going into battle with me. Like when we buy these buildings, I buy these buildings with my money. And then I call Jeff. Jeff, you want to invest with me? Well, Jeff's like, how much money you got in? 70 million of my own cash. Oh, God dang, you already did the homework. I take out all the work for everybody. I'm eating my own dog food.
You took me around.
I took my own vaccine.
You showed me.
How many doctors say that? I'm like, hey, doc, should I take the vaccine? I took it. Okay. You don't need to explain anything else to me. You took it. That says something to me. So when I tell you, like, this building's 230 million, I handpicked it. I negotiated the deal. I bought the deal. I funded it with my cash and got debt on it. Okay. I have my team on it. 16 people work in that building. That single building right there has more employees than the average doctor listening to this interview. Leasing agents, mechanics, maintenance. It's 99% occupied, 456 units. There's 452 or something that are occupied, paying $2,500 a month. We got 5 years of debt with you know, the ability to go longer than that. And this is a AAA location, AAA amenities, cash flow from day one.
Do I get paid monthly or quarterly with you?
Accredited investors get paid monthly, non-accredited get paid every quarter.
Okay.
You get all the same tax benefits that I get.
Mm-hmm.
You sign the same paperwork that my twin brother signs, or my daughter or my wife would sign on this transaction.
So it's almost like the scale, you know, the old scale, the judicial scale. We start off with all this active income, but what you're saying is, as we're practicing, it should shift more to passive.
Yeah.
Not using any active.
95% of your doctors are so conservative. They probably, this would describe them. Your home's paid for. You have a bunch of cash in the bank. You probably have a money market. You might even have a problem with, you know, what is it, 250 insured on an account.
FDIC.
You probably have multiple accounts with 250 in them. You're worried about, you know, a bank defaulting. You probably have ETFs, mutual funds. You're taking the Warren Buffett approach. What you hear him say, you're diversifying your investments, which is a mistake, by the way. You cannot create wealth diversifying. You probably have no real estate except for your home, and it's paid for. You're not using debt correctly. This is what a conservative doctor does. You don't overspend. You never overspend, and you're terrified about your money. No matter what, no matter how much you have, you're terrified because you have inflation on your mind. You're worried about the stock market going down. You're not earning any income, and you have nothing real. And it's something to be worried about. So what we're doing here is creating a solution where accredited and non-accredited people, okay, Dr. Jeff can invest alongside me in a deal where I've done all the research. There is no middleman. You can't have your banker, Merrill Lynch, Fidelity, JP Morgan, or Goldman Sachs, your boy, call and say, I want to do this for Dr. Smith. I won't take his phone call. You invest directly with me. No broker fees, no middlemen. This has never been done before. Where I can go direct to a retail investor, cut out Charles Schwab, cut out Blackstone, and go directly to the everyday person and say, this is a trophy asset that's $250 million. Jeff, when I sell this, I'm gonna sell it for $500 million.
And you paid what for it?
230. If it takes me 10 years, no problem, I can wait.
And we're still getting paid along the way.
I'm getting paid and I'm writing off all my income all along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just begging, I'm waiting for the inflation gods. Please, whoever they replace Biden with, please come print another $3 trillion. Every time they print money, that building's value goes up. Those rents are $2,500 right now.
Wow.
Those will be $5,000 rents in the next 10 years. It's Fort Lauderdale, Main and Main. If you come to Fort Lauderdale, there's 37 restaurants within 6 blocks walking distance. If you come to Fort Lauderdale, I don't need to advertise the building. You'll find it on your own. You can't miss it. It's 6 blocks of building. It's on the water.
We're not getting that rent down here in Louisiana.
No. What's your rent there?
Shoot, in my hometown, maybe $1,000.
Yeah, but they'll be 1,200.
Yeah.
So when they go from 1,000 to 1,200, that's a 20% increase in rents.
Yeah.
They'll go there.
When I was there, you walked me through your office and you had big classrooms of people, education. And you told me in this new building you built, you're going to be expanding that? Are you going to be having anything for maybe different types of people, like
Yeah.
accredited investors, doctors, whatever? Tell us a little bit about your plans, your
Yeah.
business
So
building.
look, my main business, it's hard for me to say my main business because this business has gotten so big. My real estate business it's enormous. It's a $4 billion business. It's going to go to 40 billion. I'm going to have 50,000 units in the United States. That's our target. My other businesses are very much educational businesses. I started by helping Fortune 500 companies improve their customer relationships, interactions, online support, and sales. That became very, very popular. I worked with some of the biggest companies in the world, the Ford Motor Companies, the Ashley Furnitures, people that were going from retail to e-commerce and having to change the way they handle customers. So we became very much an educational company, consulting with big Fortune 500 companies. And then about 8 years ago, we opened that up to individuals, entrepreneurs, small business owners. We've done everybody from technology to finance to medical, insurance, retail, Google's on the 10X rule. I've written 8 best-selling books. And we now each week have people in our classroom, sales, marketing, social media, how to grow your business, how to scale a business. And we also do real estate events here. So Jeff, you and I talked about doing a real estate event here. This is a classroom for about 200 people. We also have hotels where I'm doing an event next month for 2,000 people. But I would love to put, if you ever want to put a group of doctors together and they come down, we can teach you guys the deal. You can find your own deals in your time off, in your 4 hours a day that you have left. We can teach you guys how to find your deal in your marketplace, right? Like Jeff's an expert in Louisiana. I'm in Florida. If I'm going to go buy real estate in Louisiana, I need an expert on the ground in Louisiana.
What about the doctor that wants to come learn from you, that doesn't want to do, that wants to invest passively, but they want to know enough to invest intelligently? Can you help them?
Yeah. So we do webinars probably 4 times a year that are, free to come to.
Okay.
I'm having one Saturday, 100,000 people registered for it, 108,000 as of today. Okay. It's completely free. I don't know if they'll see this in time to know about it. December 13th, 14th, 15th, I'm doing a 3-day event here in Miami. So $1,000 to come to it for 3 days. This is a 3-day event. I do the entire 3 days. It's not my staff. And I'm teaching people literally deals. We take your market. You're in Utah. You're in Provo. Oh, those are different markets. Salt Lake City is different than Provo. Provo is different than Peoria, Illinois. Peoria is different than Fort Lauderdale. Lake Charles, Louisiana is different than Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is different than New Orleans. They're different markets. They're different tenants, different buyers, different debt, different everything. Mm-hmm. So residential is different than office. Office is different than medical. Medical is different than retail. So we teach this, what to look for, what to find, what's a good deal, what's a good location, what supports a location, where do you need to be scared of? There's 3 basic things in a real estate deal. First, the deal, not the money. First, the deal, not the price. It's the deal first. Number 2 is the debt on the deal. Okay, how do I get debt? Is debt good on these deals? Most doctors don't know anything about debt. In fact, you've been told by Dave Ramsey to avoid it and leave it alone. Kevin O'Leary talked about debt, not wanting debt. Well, they're both wrong. And they're not wrong because I'm right. They're wrong because Google, Apple, Facebook, they all use debt.
There's your boy, Anti.
Yeah, there's my boy. So Dave Ramsey wouldn't have a TV show if it wasn't for the TV network using debt. There would be no hospitals without debt. You can't build a hospital with cash. So anyway, we teach you about debt. Then we teach you about, okay, cash. What kind of cash returns should you expect? How do you limit your downside? How do you know for sure what a good deal is? Because the moment you know for sure, this is what I've been studying for 30 years. What is a guaranteed good deal? And I know there's no such thing in life as a guarantee, but I want to be more than Moderna, Pfizer, sure. I want to be way more than that. I want whatever shot I take to improve over time, not decrease over time. You know what I'm saying? And real estate does that. Real estate, the right real estate will always get better over time. It will improve as time goes. Look at the Vatican and notice how much money, how much property the Catholic Church owns. I think they're the 10th largest property owner in the world.
Yep.
So doctors, Jeff and I are showing you, you want to learn how to get educated on the game? Come on, we can help you. But either way, you got to get your money. Your money's dying and you know it. It's dying. It's dying at the fastest rate it has ever died. It is on a death pattern. And the only thing you can do to resuscitate it right now is to move it, convert it from paper into real buildings where there's positive job growth, rent inflation, jobs. We have positive jobs because you don't just want people there. You got to have jobs. Otherwise, the people just live there and you can't get them out of the building. And you have politics that support the land, the owner of the property, not just the tenant that lives there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for spending time with us, and I will get back with you regarding getting something going down there for these doctors.
We should do something, man. People love coming to Miami. Let's figure it out, Jeff.